What's up, boys and girls? Welcome back to a new Alphastar video. Today we have Alphastar in a PvP against an unranked player. There's also a Protoss. So a little bit of Protoss versus Protoss on Cyberforce Ladder Edition. And in the bottom right we have the unranked player. And top left we have Mr. Alphastar himself. This is one of the replays from the final replay folder. So I believe this is the best Alphastar there is. I'm running out of those replays soon though, so I'll have to start transitioning into the worst replays where he's either still learning or it's the supervised version. Not quite sure how it works. I didn't quite read the paper. I'm not massive on reading, but happens to the best. Alright, we see Mr. Alphastar opening up with a... So far it just looks like a standard double gate. There's only one gate, but everything here indicates that this is going to be double gate. The initial gate positioning, the two gases, the fact that it's a PvP. And if you don't open double gate, most of the time you just die. I love that he scouts for cannon rush, by the way. This is a really cute move. Just popping down after your second gas, checking if there's any cannons already building on the low ground. Otherwise you just kind of insta-lose against any low ground cannon followed up by high ground cannons. It's very difficult to deal with that unless you scout the low ground. Either after second gate or after second gas. So it's a good move by him that, I'm not sure, I guess losing to cannon rush all day does that to you. Second pylon for both players into the main base, so we won't be seeing any kind of proxy. Usually if the second pylon is not on the main base, that does indicate either a proxy or a fake proxy. There's no probe scout coming out of Alphastar, so he'll be doing everything blind here. We'll be trying to deal with this probe by just sending one probe of his own to chase it. Proper saturation and opened up with Adept. So Adept. Ooh. Stargate before Warp Gate, and this gets scouted obviously. Because the first two units aren't out yet. It's a very bad third pylon position, doesn't add anything for Alphastar here. As you either build it in a corner, so you get extra vision in case of Oracle or Prism or Phoenixes, just basically any air unit that can come towards you, or you build it on the low ground, so you can start getting batteries quicker on your low ground. Now we see the unranked player builds a pylon here. You might be wondering, why is he building a pylon here? He's already seen the tech. This pylon gives you vision of the Stargate and will give information on what the first Stargate unit will be. Now of course this can be faked. Imagine you start an Oracle and then if the other player cancels the pylon, you just start a Phoenix afterwards. But that's not what's happening because he finished the pylon. Alphastar loses, I think, both of the adepts for free. Yeah, already one adept went down to two of the stalkers. So you see the unranked player opening with a 4 stalker opener. And a single battery as well, of course. He spotted the Oracle, so that makes a lot of sense. Nexus is going down. Pylon is still in this position, not being taken out by these adepts. Third gate goes down, as well as this battery got finished. I'm not quite sure what this is all about, but this seems extremely terrible. This is a weird battery position. It doesn't really cover the low ground. This is why I thought this third pylon was so bad. This fourth pylon also is bad, by the way. It's exact same issue with it. Nothing on the low ground yet, which makes it harder for Alphastar to expand, because you just don't have the same safety if you don't have a pylon there to build batteries. Now Alphastar starts taking out his own battery. I thought I'd seen it all. I have absolutely no clue what's happening here. But to be fair, I didn't know why this was finished, this battery, or why it was built in the first place, but same with the third gate, makes absolutely no sense to me. Now we do have 2 oracles on the map, but there's sufficient defenses in the main base for our unranked player, who now spots that a natural is just started for Alphastar. So even though he's behind in workers, his income is just going to be higher for the next minute or so. As you see, the extra workers don't do too much for Alphastar. They get maybe 50 to 100 extra income per minute. But having an extra base and proper saturation, you'll see our unranked player, once these probes start counting, you'll see he'll basically be ahead, even though he's down in workers. So he's up like maybe 100, 150 income right now. And it will be the case for the next minute. Of course, double Nexus also allows him to produce probes faster, as he has double Chrono Boost and double Probe Production. Alphastar really only has these two oracles so far. There is a Robo done right now, and he's getting a Prism, which is a very odd call. Usually if you... Oh, he didn't scout the Twilight Council. I thought he had seen the Twilight Council, but Alphastar is not aware. So in that case, I can kind of dig the Prism. You know, with a couple of adepts, a Prism can be extremely powerful. But in the case of scouting a Twilight and this many Stalkers, I would suggest getting an Immortal rather than a Prism, because if Blink is finished, your Prism's gonna be completely useless. Basically, you just build 3 units that won't have any use anymore once Blink is done. Both these Oracles and the Prism are... Alright, sorry for that. Yeah, all of these units are kind of bad against Blink, honestly. As we do see, +1 is also starting for the unranked player right now. Alphastar is getting faster gases, and he's still rather competitive when it comes to worker count. So even though I feel like his Nexus was really late, he still feels like he's in an okay-ish position. I mean, he has a decent unit count, Immortals are on the way. The only problem is that there's no Forge, there's no follow-up Twilight. So I feel like Alphastar will need to somehow get a transition going, because you can't just stay on Immortal, Sentry, Stalker, or whatever it is he's doing. Here comes the Twilight indeed. Oracles are being chased by this one Phoenix and these four Stalkers. Of course, it is a fake Phoenix. This Oracle, I believe, should not die, but he decided to stop using it. So he does lose both Oracles. Right now, the only form of harass still available on the map is this Prism, of course. But once again, this Prism shouldn't be able to do too much, as the only thing that's going to be in the Prism is going to be Adepts. You can just warp in some Stalkers and be completely fine against that. Chase the Prism even. So we have a lot of Stalkers on the map at the moment. We have this Prism. No third base. I wouldn't have minded seeing a faster third base. Usually if you open Blink, you actually kind of rush out a third base before you go up to 6 or even up to 8 gateways, just so you can get an increased amount of probes, you get better eco early on. Now Prism does go into the main base here, but like I said, 3 Stalkers get warped in, a couple of probes will end up falling, but I'm not quite sure how worth this was for Alphastar, and this is a bad move, I think. You should never pick up your Adepts in a Prism if they're still doing damage against only 3 Stalkers. So Prism gets the Knight completely, third base is on the way. A couple of Templar are actually being built here at this pylon and will be used for an Archon drop. There is no anti-air whatsoever coming out of Alphastar, like no proper anti-air. So there's some Stalkers, but without Blink, and there's no Phoenixes, which means Prisms have extreme potential in this kind of scenario, because honestly, if you don't have Stalkers in position against this, you're just gonna lose 5-6 probes immediately. And in PvP, losing 5-6 probes is basically game over, or at least it means you'll be forced into an all-in. So we have the unranked player moving in and should be able to kill a bunch of workers, as the first 4 or 5 workers are going down. Salad warped in to deal with this, and a big F2 move into the main base. Way too many sentries in Alphastar's army as well. This could have been extra Templar, whether that be the... Actually, there's no Templar archives, it's just a Dark Shrine which he will use to get Archons, but that's not quite an army that you want. You always want to get a Templar archives, so then you can afford more Zealots as well. But Alphastar really has a weird army composition. He does get a Phoenix to deal with the Prism, which I kind of like, but his army is so bad. There's no upgrades except for Blink, and Blink... I mean, Blink Stalkers are fun, but they're also kind of bad against Charge Slots, honestly. Like, against Charge Slot Archon, you want Charge Slot Archon yourself. Like, it's the only thing that counters it is itself, basically. It's just the best unit composition in PvP at the moment. Well, at any moment, quite honestly. So I don't really see this fight going too well for Alphastar. He does have 4 Immortals, which is nice. He has 2 Archons, but 6 Sentries are completely useless. Like a massive waste of gas. That 600 gas could have been 2 extra Archons. Prism gets sniped immediately by these Blink Stalkers, and the Charge will just absolutely destroy everything on the ground. I mean, this fight isn't even close. Supplies are relatively close, but no +1, no charge, and quite frankly, awful army composition mean that even though our unranked player was a little bit behind in workers earlier and was down in supply. He managed to get a forward base, probed it up, 10 more probes, and still hold extremely well. I mean, he's tripling the army supply right now of the Alphastar, who's stuck with 4 Zealots, an Archon, and 2 Stalkers. He even was researching +2, the unranked player, during all of this. So Alphastar really not quite having a clue on how to play PvP, it feels like. As these Archons are absolutely ripping through the probes in the natural. Zealots are moving forward, and I mean, this is gonna be it, right? You can micro 2 Stalkers and a Prism as long as you want, but if your opponent has more Archons than you have Stalkers, it's probably a bad sign. See, small warp-in of Zealots still going on. Some counter-harass with DTs, which is cute. 4 DTs are trying to do some work. But there is a cannon in every single base. There's an observer in this base as well. This cannon being surrounded by those probes, making the AIs of those DTs bug out, as you can see. And GG gets called, unranked player wins this game, and Alphastar loses. Alright boys, that's gonna be it for this time. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a comment, hit the like button or subscribe. And I'll see you boys tomorrow for another Beating Grandmaster with stupid stuff. Bye bye.